In 1996, a car salesman named Lee Chow Meng committed a series of terrible crimes: molestation, robbery, rape, and murder. On top of this, he was HIV positive and knowingly infected his victims.
In my 18 years as a crime journalist, I believe Lee Chow Meng's case is one of the most heinous crimes I've ever come across. Lee Chow Meng was basically a very good-looking, clean-shaven man. He doesn't strike you as a person who would commit or do something like a rape or murder or robbery.
This guy that we are dealing with is above average intelligence. He knows what he is doing and he is very confident.
I believe Lee Chow Meng would have applied his knowledge as a car salesman on women because you basically need a convincing power to get them to follow him. That could be one of the reasons why many of his victims fell prey to him. Lee Chow Meng's modus operandi is basically to answer to advertisements placed by women, either for tuition classes, house to let, car for sale. He will respond to the advertisement. Then what he will do is basically tell them, look, can we go for a drink? His favorite haunt is fast food outlets. So it's easy for him to get them to come to a fast food outlet to discuss business. When he gets the drinks for them, he'll just spike the drinks.
He planned well and he executes his plan thoroughly to satisfy his personal deviant sexual fantasies.
They never knew what hit them. And then when they feel drowsy, he just takes them. Lee Chow Meng was said to have raped at least 16 women.
He knows that he has HIV. He is aware of what he will do to the victims. He's transferring the HIV to the victims. So this is a very extreme punishment. His victim will die. So he doesn't care.
The most fascinating comment that came from one of the interrogators involved in the Lee Chow Meng case was they addressed him as a serial rapist, and he will correct them in a manner where he was proud to say that he's not a serial rapist, but he's a serial murderer.
On January 29, 1997, 33-year-old beautician Lim Pek Liang arranged to meet with Lee Chow Meng to discuss business. He drove her out to a remote oil palm plantation in Perak, where it is believed Lee Chow Meng raped her. Afterwards, he tried to rob her, but Lim resisted, refusing to tell him her PIN numbers. In a rage, he brutally murdered her. A cold, calculated killer. He dragged her body through the plantation and buried her in a shallow grave.
It was a sad case because the whole family was hunting for high and low, and when they found her, that's where they started linking him with all the other murders and other missing cases.
His greed and avarice would ultimately lead to his undoing, as he turned his hand to blackmail. In 1997, he lured another victim through an ad in a Chinese newspaper.
The one that basically got him was the one where he went to Ipoh and he was trying to blackmail one of his victims, which he had photographed in the nude.
He threatened to distribute these photographs unless she paid 10,000 ringgit in cash. This time, his victim went straight to the police. With a task force waiting to pounce and a nation desperate for his capture, the operation to ensnare Lee Chow Meng was swiftly put into action. Police arranged a sting outside a low-budget hotel in Bertram, Ipoh, where he was supposed to meet the victim. Sensing a trap, Lee Chow Meng fled from the officers.
And that's when police fired a warning shot, which he didn't adhere to.
Lee Chow Meng was shot in the leg and taken straight to the hospital for treatment and questioning.
At the hospital, his blood was taken for testing, where it was confirmed that he was suffering from HIV. Within weeks, the police wrapped up the case. They brought him to court and they charged him with murder because they found the body of one of his victims.
Lee Chow Meng was sentenced to 15 years in prison. After 4 years incarceration, he died from AIDS-related illnesses.
Since he has been jilted by his girlfriend back in high school, I believe that he wants to find someone, the victims of his, that resembling the features or characteristics similar to